Hello, hi, and welcome back to our blind read-through of Saya no Uta, the Song of Saya. We were here last time, and we ended up finally seeing an ending after only 3 hours. That's pretty quick, but I've heard this game's pretty brisk anyway, so not too shocking, I suppose. But the ending we chose was that we wanted to reject the reality that we were currently living with meat walls and tentacle girlfriend who looked like a normal girl, and that we wanted to go back to our real life in the normal world. And then it turns out, oops, we got convicted for murder, then we were insane and ended up not being able to stand trial, and ended up in a mental institution for the rest of our lives. And it was actually quite sad, a lot sadder than I thought it would be. Like I didn't expect to feel the pangs of sadness that I ended up feeling with that ending. But needless to say, it was pretty effective at doing what it's done, which means I'm fully invested in what this story's doing. So we're gonna pop me right back on down chaw. We're gonna go over here to video game land, and we're gonna go to load, and then we're gonna load our decision point, which is right here. Let's go. All right, so the last time we chose that we wanted it all back, and now we don't need that shit anymore. Get it out of here. Get the old life gone. Get it to the gone, baby. On that terrible day when I first opened my eyes after the accident, what would my answer have been? When I think back on this many years from now, will I wish that my answer today had been different? It doesn't matter. Here, in this moment, there is no doubt in my mind. Who was that? I asked Saya, looking at the unidentifiable pieces of the monster. He was hardly a stranger. We'd been neighbors for as long as I can remember. I'd go as far as to say we were on good terms before the accident. And now I've killed him with my own 2 hands. I feel little. Mr. Suzumi, the kindly painter who lived next door, is but a distant memory. The pieces of meat around me belong to a creature whose mere existence was nauseating. Only by killing the vermin could I find relief. He complained about my yard being filthy. The swine. It doesn't matter what Saya did. He wasn't worth keeping alive anyway. These are my honest feelings. My hands are wet with another man's blood, and yet I am utterly calm. Now I know what I lost in the accident. Saya says that I can take it back, but I know that I cannot. It is gone forever, like the life of the man called Suzumi. But a girl with a tendril in her mouth going into your brain meats can. Saya looks away, her expression unreadable. Everything is monstrous and loathsome in my eyes. Everything but Saya. I thought that she was somehow unique. I was wrong. I see her just as I do everything else, as something other than what she really is. But why should that surprise me? Saya is a part of my world, just as I am of hers. It doesn't change what we are to each other. I stand and walk over to Suzumi's dismembered corpse. I want to say that this is a reference. I've not read the story, but I have read about it, and I've been recommended it by it's an Osamu Tezuka piece that I think that this entire game is probably based on, and it's about a dude who gets in an accident, and he wakes up and he like sees people as clay figures and like robots and machines as like gorgeous people. And I think that that's sort of what he's referencing here. Also, the fact that like this whole game is likely, you know, an homage to Tezuka's work on Phoenix. I finally realized that even though the stench of these monsters' flesh turns my stomach, their blood and guts smell pretty good. In fact, I know the fragrance quite well. Yeah. This is definitely that Phoenix story then. I need to read that story. I retrieve the cleaver, pick up a piece of Suzumi's body, and start removing the skin and tendons. Ah, just as I thought. The stuff underneath it is exactly the same as what Saya and I have been eating. Again, nothing quite like sharing a lovely meal with the woman you love. Sure, I answer easily. There's no longer any room for doubt in my mind. God, y'all are gonna be eating good for a while. You got all 3 of them. Man, y'all already got Thanksgiving dinner already planned. Is that really what you want? Saya asks again, this time with a trace of fear in her voice. I guess I still haven't convinced her of my sincerity. Fucking spoilers, Fuminori, thanks! Now what reason do I have to read Phoenix? Fucking banning Fuminori from the chat for spoiling. Tossing the knife and meat aside, I pull Saya into my arms once more. As Saya wipes away the tears flowing from her eyes, I can no longer see any hint of fear in her face. I have sworn my oath, and Saya has accepted it. We have nothing to fear now. Saya will never need to cry again. Filled with contentment, we exchange a smile and set to the task of cleaning the room. A single person produces a lot more meat than I expected. Speaking of which, I seem to remember doing something similar before. After we finish here, we should go gather the meat from the Suzumi house. That should be enough to hold us for a while, and we can use their refrigerator to store what won't fit in our... I don't know that that's a good idea, because that's going to start stinking in their house too, and people are going to go looking. But I don't know that that's a good idea. I think, you know, we might need to just, like, load up on as much as we absolutely can. Like, find the wife and the child, get the tastiest bits, put them up in some Tupperware, bring them on over, but I would absolutely not be storing more meat over there. You're doing bad enough at disguising the smell coming from your own joint. I can't help but think that's a decision that's going to go very badly for you at some point. It's all coming together. Saya and I will be just fine. After we finish our labors and get into bed, I show Saya what I found in Ogai's house.
この一枚見覚えがあるよ。確かにさやの知ってる場所。
The photograph that Saya has selected is the one with Tochigi Prefecture address on the back.
これは家だよね。それと木と山。
そう。文則すごいね。写真も見られるようになった？
まあね。
At the outset of my ordeal, I had to depend entirely on my sense of distance to decipher what I saw. The houses in front of me, the mountains far behind them, the clouds high above. Only distance and scale told me what they were. Photographs and other flat images used to be nearly impossible to make out. Recently, however, I've gotten better at understanding what things are by their shape. I know what the mountains and sky look like, for instance, and how to tell them apart from buildings. Each of the three pictures show a familiar scene, a lone house in the middle of a thick forest.
パパはね、別荘だって言ってた。ここにいれば誰にも見つからないって。
So like, what did y'all get up to while you were there? And like, is Dad like an ugly ass flesh monster somehow too? Like, what is? Still not quite understanding the link between how she got here and yeah, all that. Judging by the address on the back of each photo, they probably are excellent places to hide from prying eyes. But why 3? The dates are pretty old, and it seems odd that they're all taken within a few days of each other. Maybe he was scouting properties, looking for the perfect location for his hideaway. Saya recognizes only one of the houses, so that must be the one Ogai picked. Checking the location on a road map of the Kanto area, I find that it's about 3 hours out of Tokyo by car.
お父さんがここにいる可能性は？
I don't know that I want this dude getting behind the wheel of a car. Y'all are gonna have to do the best you can on a subway.
電話してみたけど出なかったよ。多分いないと思う。
でも最近に立ち寄ったことはあるかもしれないよね。
The way I see it, our only hope of finding Ogai is to follow whatever lead we have, no matter how small. The probability that his hideout will yield useful information may be low, but it's not 0.
明日にでも行ってみようかな、ここ。
Do you have to, Saya pouts? I wasn't expecting her to object.
でもここ遠いんでしょ？
行って調べて帰ってきても、まあ半日もあれば十分さ。
その間、さやはお留守番なの？
So that's what it is. Slightly exasperated, I smile and rub Saya's head.
少しは我慢してくれよ。な？さやだってお父さんのこと見つけたいんだろ？
うん。
After a brief silence, during which her expression is hard to decipher, Saya looks up at me and says,
ねえ、文則。パパのことはもういいよ。
Let's forget about Dad. You know, that might be the best decision. You know, maybe just like trying to eke out a living like this and not digging further into this may be your best shot at finding whatever normalcy that you can in your current situation. That's the last thing I expected her to say.
でも君のお父さんだろ？心配じゃないのか？
いいの。私にはもう文則がいるし。
Not anymore, Saya says, coming closer to feel my warmth. I have you now.
パパって言っても本当の意味でのお父
Yeah,
さん
I
っていう
had
わ
a
けじゃ
feeling
ない。
that was the case.
さやのことを教育してくれたし、ある意味では愛してくれてたのかもしれないけど、でも文則の方が優しくてあったかい。
Saya's words make me happy, but I also hear the loneliness in them.
本当に僕だけでもいいのか？
うん。文則は嫌？さやと二人っきりじゃ。
Other bad YouTubers and VTubers would make the really dumb Will Smith joke right here, but I'm not gonna do it. I have restraint. I have class.
いやでも、そうだな。やっぱり大貝教授には会ってみたい。
Having finally figured out how to explain my feelings, I continue.
さやのことをもっとよく知りたいから、僕以外にさやのことを知ってる人がいるならぜひ会ってみたい。
Saya doesn't seem upset, but she does tilt her head quizzically, as though my thoughts are strange to her.
それに、やっぱり明日この場所に行ってみよう。
Another plan has started to form in my head, one separate from the search for Dr. Ogai. If I find the doctor there, great. If I don't, well, I think I can find another use for his mountain retreat.
さや、寂しいかもしれないけど、ちょっと我慢して待っててくれ。
Okay, she nods, then looks questioningly into my eyes.
やっぱり文則にはさ、家族とか友達とかもっともっと大勢いた方がいいのかな。
そりゃその方が楽しいだろうね。
Fearing that Saya will start sulking, I hurriedly add,
でも勘違いしないでくれよ。たとえそういう人たちに囲まれて暮らしてたとしても、さやだけは僕にとって特別な一人なんだからね。
Saya, are you thinking what I think you're thinking? Are you thinking about giving brainworms to a couple of people who perhaps might be named Yo and perhaps who might be named Koji?
ありがとう。
I think she's gonna be taking some initiative tomorrow while he's out looking for a house. Is that where we're going? I know, thanks. Giggling, Saya rubs her cheek against
さや
mine.
も文則が喜びそうなこと文則のためだけ
Oh
に
dear.
頑張るからね。
Oh me, oh my. Today, all of Koji's classes were in the morning. On his way to meet Yo for lunch after his final lecture, Koji suddenly gets a call in the middle of the hallway. Without thinking, he reaches to his belt for his new camera phone, but curses when he realizes that the ringtone is coming from the old phone in his bag. He hasn't transferred his contacts list yet, and calls still come to the old phone for people who don't know the new number. When he finally fishes the phone from his bag, the name he sees on display sends a chill up his spine. Fuminori! Why now? What does he want? It's hard to be happy about a call from Fuminori after the incident at the Ogai house.
はい。いや、コージ。今日はもう講義はないよな。ああ。
Of course, Fuminori would know that Koji is free on Thursday
相
afternoons.
談がある。駐車場に来てくれないか。
Is this really Fuminori now? I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know.
今すぐにか。
あ、待ってる。
I mean, is he setting some shit up or... Huh. Fuminori hangs up without another word. What's gotten into him? What does he want? Koji wonders as he sticks the phone into his pocket. The sudden change is disturbing after a week of Fuminori avoiding both Koji and Yo. Maybe he's finally ready to talk, in which case Koji should probably consider this a good thing. However, he can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong!
待たせたか。
Oh, okay, it really is. Okay. I hadn't expected this to be an actual meeting.
いいや。
In the parking lot, Koji finds Fuminori leaning against the fender of Okay, he needs a ride. Because he doesn't want to drive himself because he probably not in his state would be able to, or he can't drive, that's a pretty common thing. Not being able to drive and not having a license. The last time they met was in the darkness of an abandoned house. This is the first time in over a week that they've spoken face to face in the light. Perhaps this is why Koji senses something strange in Fuminori's expression. He's not sure what exactly, but something has changed.
前にも話したと思うが、僕は今 オーガイっていう人についていろいろと調べなきゃならない。
そうらしいな。
それがな、ここに来ていろいろと難しくなってきたんだ。やっぱり
Fuminori seems more relaxed than before. He used to be tense all the time, like he was terrified of something, but now his expression is calm. He's even wearing what resembles a sheepish grin.
で、お前にも手伝ってほしいんだ、コウジ。
Nevertheless, some instinct is telling Koji that Fuminori's changes are not for the better.
一体どういう風の吹き回しだ。
Why the sudden change of heart, Koji asks, keeping his expression neutral to conceal his
だ
suspicion.
って、お前も関心あるんだろ、コウジ。
You're interested, aren't you? Fuminori responds coolly, his smile unreadable as ever, offers no glimpse of his true motives.
お前も僕の後から、オーガイ教授の家をいろいろと探し回ってたじゃないか。僕とお前とでバラバラに探すなんて二度手間だよ。どうせなら、協力してもっと効率的にやろう。
It's the weirdest buddy cop movie ever. Why? Why does he sense malice, thick and viscous, lurking behind Fuminori's
ともか
smile?
く、今日は足が必要なんだ。車を
まあ、
Fuminori's car was destroyed in the accident, so Koji isn't surprised that he needs a lift. Koji unlocks his car and gestures for Fuminori to take the passenger seat, then gets behind the wheel and starts the engine.
で、どこに行くんだ。
栃木の北の方、那須高原の近所だな。
栃木？
Koji can't believe his ears.
住所はこれだ。この建物を探してほしい。
Here's the address, Fuminori says, handing Koji a photo with an address in the back. We need to find this building. He seriously expects to be driven over 100 kilometers and back? Koji doesn't know whether to be angry or impressed.
今から出発すれば、夕方頃には着くだろう。
まあ、そうかもしれんが。
Road trip! Koji sighs heavily, tapping the steering wheel as he calms himself down. Now that he's come this far, the only thing he can do is see his friend's craziness through to the end.
別荘か何かか、これは。
多分、そこにオーガイ教授もいるらしい。
Oh, he should! Okay. Koji isn't looking forward to meeting the owner of that creepy house, but he's even more uneasy about letting Fuminori go alone. It looks like he just has to grin and bear it.
東京に戻るのは夜中かもな。
悪いな、世話をかけて。
いいさ。
Koji drives out of the parking lot, leaving the rest of what he thought to say unspoken. Yeah, we're not asking about Omi, are we? We're not bringing that up at all. Fuminori's smile seems wrong somehow, like an expression mask glued to his face. Yo finds herself sitting alone in the cafeteria, searching for a familiar face as her lunch cools on the table in front of her. She was hoping to see Koji today, but he must have had other plans. That wouldn't be at all unusual. Normally, Omi and Fuminori would pick up the slack. But Omi and Fuminori aren't here anymore. Yo puts down her chopsticks, her appetite ruined by the lack of company and by the anxiety eating at her. Omi is missing, Fuminori is turned on her, and she has no idea why. If Koji were here, she could count on him to distract her with some idle conversation. Now that she's all by herself, Yo becomes keenly aware of how little tolerance she has for loneliness. She begins to feel paranoid, like the whole world is plotting to take from her everything that she cherishes. What's going on here? Big relate! Girl, I totally relate to you here. Where has Omi gone? Is Fuminori really unrelated to her disappearance? Or is he the key to this mystery, as Koji and Dr. Tombo suspect? Yo recalls the events of last Thursday. Alone and without an outlet for her pain after Fuminori verbally eviscerated her, Yo was lucky enough to run into Koji. Although he could hardly make her problem go away, his kindness was a comfort. At the same time, Omi was on her way to Fuminori's house, and she hadn't been heard from since. Yo has only been aware of Fuminori's connection to Omi's disappearance since yesterday, when Koji revealed the truth during their visit to the hospital. What if a new possibility occurs to her, a reason for why Omi suddenly decided to visit Fuminori? What if it hadn't been a coincidence that Yo ran into Koji that day? What if Koji and Omi had known what transpired between her and Fuminori and had decided to act separately? Omi might have seen the confrontation at the courtyard. She might have been eavesdropping. It's not unthinkable. As an idea forms in her mind, Yo feels as though something is tearing apart at her from the inside. And if you decide to make the choice and action that I think you're about to make, I imagine that you are actually going to have your body torn apart from the inside, like in a very literal sense. Just saying, maybe don't make the trip that I think that you think you're wanting to make. It's only a possibility, but if it's true, then whatever happened to Omi is Yo's responsibility too, isn't it? Oh no, don't do this. No, this is the worst line of thinking that you could possibly prop yourself into right now. Yo clutches her head, groaning in agony. The food on her tray is now cold, not that she would have eaten it anyway. Despite her frustration and anxiety, Yo is unable to act on her own. She's never been good at adapting to challenges, and no one would even call her proactive. She hasn't the slightest idea how to respond to this situation. If Omi were here, she would probably tell Yo to think positive and trust her instincts. Yo is always dependent on her best friend's energy. Now that Omi's gone, Yo realizes just how weak and useless she is. She can only sink deeper and deeper into the abyss of self-loathing. The sudden ringing of her phone pulls her back from the brink of despair. It's a text message. There's no title. The sender is...
Omi!
Oh god, oh no! Oh no! This is not... No! No! Don't do it, Yo! No! Oh, this is all bad. This is all bad. Saya, I know what you're doing! Omi? Yo cries out in shock. The message itself is even more baffling. If you want to know about Sakisaki Fuminori, come to his house alone. Oh, no! Yo! Like, come on! Yo doesn't deserve this! No! Oh, don't do it, please! Have some instinct that tells you, hey, maybe I shouldn't go alone. The message bears no trace of Omi's personality, but Yo can't deny that it was sent from her phone. Okay, it's not her personality. Leave it be. She takes a deep breath to calm herself before typing her reply, taking care that excitement doesn't cause her fingers to slip. Is that you, Omi? Where are you? Yo presses send. The screen shows her message was received. As she waits for a reply, her mind fills with questions. Is someone else using Omi's phone to send text messages? If so, why to her? 'Cause they hungry, or they're trying to create a friend. A friend. Something suddenly occurs to her. She and Omi have exchanged countless messages over the years, many of which contain the sort of embarrassing confessions that close girlfriends share. At times when her feelings for Fuminori grew too strong to contain, Yo often put them into words for Omi to read. Did Omi put a password on her phone? Even if she had, the person who sent the message was obviously able to unlock it, which means that whoever has it has full access to her history. Do you want to know about Sakisaka Fuminori? Yo reads the strange message one more time. Whoever sent it must believe that Yo has an interest in Fuminori. The phone rings again, startling Yo, but she quickly recovers and looks at the screen. There's no title, and the sender is still Takahata Omi. I'll tell you everything when we meet. Come alone. Tell no one. It's not Omi. She never would try to scare Yo with such a mean-spirited prank. Anxiety has brought Yo almost to tears. Her mind isn't made to deal with something like this. Who's using Omi's phone and promising to reveal Fuminori's secrets? Who? Yo desperately wants advice from Koji, from anyone. She even starts to dial up Koji's cell, but a sudden suspicion stops her. The sender might be somewhere nearby, watching her at this very moment. A cold chill runs down her spine as she looks furtively around the cafeteria. Come alone, tell no one. The lifeless characters on the screen are like a knife against her throat. However, Yo clutches her phone and forces her heart to stop pounding. Isn't this cowardice exactly what she hates most about herself? This is not the time to be getting over the interpersonal hurdles. This is absolutely the time to listen to every thought you have that says, this is sus as fuck, and not go alone at the very least. Not that, like, going with somebody else is gonna help, because I'm pretty sure that what we're dealing with could deal with more than one person at once. Even so! Oh, Yo, please, my girl. Yo realizes that her hand is shaking. How easy it would be just to give in to her cowardice, to convince herself that Omi and Fuminori are beyond her reach. That is what she truly wants, even if it means abandoning dignity and loyalty. She wants to flee from the unknown. But she also knows that even escape is beyond her. Yo understands herself well. She knows that no matter how far she runs, regret and self-loathing will consume her after everything else has fallen apart. In the end, Yo is unable to overcome her cowardice alone. She lacks both the willpower and the courage to run. And that will be where we call things. So, wow. Oh boy. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure of Saya's intentions by bringing Yo here. Like, she's either just trying to tie up loose ends, or she wants to create a new friend for Fuminori and thinks she might be able to do it without making Yo go crazy, but I don't think that's in the cards. So yeah, oh boy, we got a conundrum on our hands, and we will have a look at that the next time we are together. But for now, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a nice rest of your whatever, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Bye!